beep, 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 beep. Welcome to the Court of the Edijester, good people. I hope you're well. What have we got for you today? Breaking 1st of October from sexmatters.org. The information you'll need is all as usual in the doobries with links to the page explaining what's going on. This is a very, very important case. But before we start that, November, Winning Mindset starting, please do come and join us for the third week in November. We'll look forward to seeing you then. If not, buy me a coffee, the usual stuff, Substack, etc. Subscribe, do the usual. Subscribe, for goodness sake. Click subscribe and keep up to date with the nonsense that I come up with. However, this is not nonsense. This is a vital case. And the sexmatters.org are intervening in this case, as you can see on the screen there, of Kirsty Higgs. So Sex Matters, the Equality and Human Rights Commission, the Church of England Archbishops' Council, the Free Speech Union and the Association of Christian Teachers are all separately intervening in a belief discrimination case being heard at the Court of Appeal this week. The appeal concerns the question of how courts and tribunals should approach religious or philosophical belief discrimination cases concerning the manifestation of belief when people are treated less favourably because they have said or done something expressing their protected beliefs. The Court of Appeal is the second highest court in England and Wales, so this case is important, as noted there. This is as you can see there on the screen, it says a 13 to 60 minute read. I'll give you an overview of some of it and what my thoughts are as a gay man, because that's actually an important bit this time around, the fact that I'm a gay man. I would be really pleased to hear from you in the comments, either on YouTube or the comments on my Substack, about what you think about what's going on here, and where you lie in this particular vein of thinking. I'm not going to get into the legalese. You can read all that as well in the legalese. But the underlying case, which was supported by the Christian Legal Centre, who are in theory, as an organisation, are no friend to me, and concerns Kirsty Higgs, who was administrator and work experience manager at Church of England Secondary School. In 2018, she made posts on her personal Facebook page sharing content about relationships, sex, and health education at primary schools, which her children were attending. She posted material that was critical of teaching about LGBT relationships and about transgender identity. She acted based on her Christian faith, but her posts included florid language in statements such as, "Please read this!" ! "They are brainwashing our children!" ! And the LGBT crowd, with the assistance of the progressive school systems, are destroying the minds of normal children by promoting mental illness. Now, this is what Kirsty's written. It differs from what I might write in very, very few ways. Very few ways. If I was writing what Kirsty had written, I would have said that the RSHE guidance was unfit for purpose, except I would have taken out the bit about LGBT relationships and would want to know assurances from the primary school that all they were saying was some people love men, some people love women, some people love men and women, some people, that's all, if at all, that the primary school should be doing. Personally, I think it's the job of the parents. And I don't for one second think that Kirsty, I've been saying Kirsty all this time. I do apologise to Kirsty. Kirsty Higgs has been would say to her kids who saw two men that were walking down the street holding hands together, what those two men doing? They're mentally ill, love. You wouldn't tell that to a primary schooler either. So there's an issue of appropriateness here, but I don't have any problem with the vast majority of what Kirsty has said. And I certainly agree with Kirsty in the absolute truth that transgender identity is a mental illness. So from my perspective as a gay man, the only thing I would say is that I don't think it should be taught to primary school kids. They'll come across it in life generally, or the parents should explain it to them. So this seems, on the surface, if you look at it perhaps as a gay individual, that this person comes across as homophobic in terms of wanting to treat people who are gay differently from anybody else. I don't believe that would be the case. I honestly don't. You know why? Because I've never met anybody that does yet, who comes from what would be deemed, if we were in America, the Christian right. The school then received an email complaining about her, which said, "A member of your staff works directly with children, has been posting homophobic and prejudiced views against the LGBT community on Facebook." Now, here's where I think the school made their first mistake, and I think that the ETA may well have made a mistake. You can have a look for yourself and read through what Sex Matters has provided us with here. I think is that that line alone, look at it. "A member of your staff who works directly with children has been posting homophobic and prejudiced views against the LGBT community on Facebook." Well, that sentence in itself makes utterly no sense whatsoever. if you understand, as we do now, the forced teaming of the TQ plus lunatics with gay people and lesbians and bisexuals. So it is not necessarily homophobic and prejudiced against the LGBT community. It wasn't even homophobic from what I could read against the gay community. What it was doing was pointing out that trans nonsense is a mental illness, which it is. So I think that first line there should have given a clue to the school, but this was 2018, and goodness me, we've come a tremendous way since then, not least of all with the help of Maya Forstater and Sex Matters and the result from the Employment Tribunal in her case, which was riveting to watch on Tribunal tweets, I remember. Higgs was suspended, questioned for 6 hours, and dismissed for gross misconduct on the basis of the post referred to above. That's surreal. That's surreal. She brought a claim for belief discrimination based on her lack of belief in gender fluidity, and that someone could change their sex. Her Christian belief in marriage as a divinely instituted lifelong union between one man and one woman, and her lack of belief in same-sex marriage. Well, I didn't agree with same-sex marriage. Doesn't make the complaint valid. She also pleaded a belief in the literal truth of the Bible, and that when unbiblical ideas or ideologies are promoted, she should publicly witness to biblical truth. She absolutely has the right to manifest that. Absolutely. The Employment Tribunal recognised that these beliefs qualify for protection against discrimination, and that Christy Higgs denied being homophobic or transphobic. It said it could see no reason why the belief professed by Mrs. Higgs should necessarily result in unlawful action by her, and that there was no reason to believe she would behave towards any person in a way such as to deliberately and gratuitously upset or offend them, which is what I said earlier. But it dismissed her claims of discrimination and harassment, and here's where the problem lies. This was in 2020, before gender-critical beliefs have been recognised as worthy of respect in a democratic society. Worry ads, as you see occasionally on Twitter, people putting the words worry ads up, saying that the school had taken action not based on Higgs' actual beliefs, but on the way she expressed them and the school's perception. It's a bit worrying, isn't it? The school's perception. In short, that action was not on the ground of the beliefs, i.e. getting rid of her, but rather for a completely different reason, namely that as a result of her action, she might reasonably be perceived as holding beliefs that would not qualify for protection within the Equality Act, and as we say, beliefs that she denied having. So in other words, they're saying she's homophobic and transphobic. Off you go. Off you pop, right? She says, I'm not homophobic or transphobic. I see nothing or homophobic and transphobic in what she said, unless you begin to force team the LGBT with the T. Higgs appealed. The Employment Appeal Tribunal upheld her appeal. It found that the Employment Tribunal had made an error in law by not focusing first on the legal question of whether the actions that Higgs undertook, her posts on Facebook, were in fact a manifestation of her belief. They were. The EAT said that the Employment Tribunal should then have gone on to apply another test to determine whether the school's response was unlawful. It said the way to do this was to apply the human rights test of assessing whether the school's actions were prescribed by law and were necessary for the protection and the rights of freedom for others. It therefore sent the case back to the Employment Tribunal with guidance that it should weigh up Christy Higgs' rights to freedom of speech and freedom of belief against the rights of others, which the school said it was protecting. This followed arguments that had been introduced by an intervener in the case, the Church of England Archbishop Council, which does not support the Christian Legal Centre. That's where I think they've gone wrong. You don't weigh up whether you have the right to manifest your belief based on whether others are going to get offended. And that's where I think the problems will start. Now, I encourage you to go and have a look at this and to read more. And my thanks to Maya and the team, Helen and everybody else over there at Sex Matters, who will be in court tomorrow. And I'm sure Tribunal Tweets may well be covering this. If so, I'll put you a link tomorrow when I find out. I'll put a link on my Twitter if you want to follow it. But I think this will be a very interesting case and a very important one that will decide on, as usual, a legal knife's edge, which way things sway, and just exactly how important not only is sex mattering, but free speech too. So please do read. Seriously worth a read. Thank you very much for your time, and my thanks to the Sex Matters team for this good explainer, which I think you'll find very interesting. Okay, that's it. Off you pop. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.